Hi, y'all. I'm not really feeling that great, but I just want to talk about wrestling. That's it. And so I'm going to talk about AEW Wrestling. I'll put the dates in the bottom about the shows I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Collision. I'm going to talk about Dynamite for the past week. Now, first of all, let's talk about the Continental Classic, right? Because it's the tournament that's been going on so far. And I just love it. Before I go into the matches that happen, I do want to say, I hope a speedy recovery for Juice Robinson because he got hurt in his match with Jay White last week. And so, hopefully he recovers fast. Now, anyway, I love this tournament. I really do. I love the rules in this tournament, okay? You cannot interfere in this match. You can't, or you can be fired. And I love it, okay? Doesn't mean you can't cheat, though. Doesn't mean you can't cheat. And we've seen it a few times. So the matches that I saw this past week in the Continental Classic was Okada versus Daniel Garcia. Now, loved seeing Okada back. I personally think he's hilarious. Now, this is the first time I've been seeing Okada consistently on my TV because I'm introduced with him through AEW. Now, have I heard of him before? Yes, of course I have. He's a great wrestler. But I haven't been able to watch him consistently until now. And so I know that there is a lot of criticism about his character. But overall, I don't mind him. I think he's funny. He be cracking me up. He was cracking me up in this match when he was mocking Daniel Garcia, trying to do his dance, kept giving him the finger. And the fact that it was timed out. Mind you, Okada is the champion. He's technically the Continental champion. And so the fact that it timed out and him and Daniel ended up getting 1 point each, I love it. I love it. I have no problem with it because it matters. These points really matter. We saw it last year. Even if you don't win a single match and you win that last match, it matters. You could be literally taking someone else's place away just because you won, right? Anyway, so that's one of the matches I watched, but these are the other matches that were in the Continental Classic. We had Kyle Fletcher versus Sheldon Benjamin in Dynamite. And then we also had Kyle versus Beast Mortis in Collision. We've also had Claudio versus Brody King. And like I said, Okada versus Daniel Garcia. Loved all those matches. I thought they were all great. Of course, you had Okada and Claudio cheat to win their matches. And of course, Kyle as well. But at the end of the day, like I said, I do love these matches. And I can't wait to see the rest of them. I can't wait to see who's going to win because technically the Continental champion is Okada. And so I wonder if they're going to keep the title on him, especially since the Elite is gone. He came in with them, but now they're gone, and we haven't seen him that much. That's why I'm glad to see him in this tournament. I'm really happy to see him. Anyway, moving along, I want to talk about Mariah May. Like I said, I'm sick, so... Now, Mariah May, this girl is crazy. She's hilarious. I don't know. She's so despicable. She knows her character very well. She's very condescending. And I don't think she's delusional. At first, when I heard her interviews these past 2 weeks, I was like, this past week, I said, this lady's delusional, right? Because she hit Mina in the back of the head with that champagne bottle. And then she had an interview where she's like, I didn't break up with her. I love her. I'm like, girl, what you talking about? And then she was like, I'm giving her what she's always wanted. I'm giving her her dream. I see her. She says she wants to be the champion. How else is she going to have this opportunity unless I give it to her? Those were her words. And then she was like, right after we're going to have champagne. And then Mina, of course she reacted. And I love her reaction because she didn't hit her with that champagne bottle again. No, she came up behind her with the champagne bottle and gave it to her, right? Because Mariah was talking and saying, you know what, I'm going to make Mina work. And Mina said, make me work. Now, I understand why so many people are behind Mina. She is very charismatic. She is a very charismatic wrestler, right? And so I love this feud. I really do. I do think that May might be right. I'm pretty sure Mina knows who Mariah May is. I'm pretty sure it's not the first time that Mariah has literally backstabbed her. So maybe she's never had, but I don't know. I feel like she knows her bestie, okay? Mina knows Mariah May. And so she probably has already seen this version of her before, right? And so maybe it's true what May say. Maybe after the match, they'll have some champagne. Like, I'll never forget that whole feud with Toni Storm and Mina. And then after they had their match for Toni's championship, and Toni retained, by the way, Toni, Mariah May, and Mina all hugged and kissed. Everything was fine. So I said, you know what? It might be the same. She might be back with Mina after this match is over, right? Anyway, I have been loving it. But let's keep going. Since we already started with the women's division, I'm going to keep talking about the women's division in AEW. And so I want to talk about, first of all, this past week, I felt like this is the most we've actually seen of the women's division in AEW. Now, if you think I'm wrong, it's fine. Tell me so in the comment section, right? But we've seen Mariah May has an actual storyline. And not only does she have an actual storyline, she might have a contender after this storyline with Thunder Rosa. Because Thunder Rosa had an interview and she was like, I used to be champion. Okay? I have every right to go after that title. So that might be the next challenger for Mariah May. And then after that, we have also I think it's called the International Women's Cup, if I'm correct. Yeah, the International Women's Cup. And you have Willow. She just came back to be a part of that cup. But then you also have Hayter, who's also a part of that cup. But she also has her own like little mini feuds on the side. Like, I don't know. Everybody hates not everybody. The wrestlers who keep going after her, most of them hate that she came back and had a triumphant return. I don't know why. But anyway, Julia Hart has been coming after her as well. So like I said, like, I've been really enjoying this. On a side note, completely on a side note, Jamie Hayter's new look, please don't judge me when I say this. Every time I look at her, she reminds me of Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Like a much more like toned and like, you know, physical Daphne, but she looks like Daphne to me. Every single time I look at her, I'm like, what? She looks like Daphne. Anyway, moving along. That was just a side note. You know, we have that in the women's division, and I haven't even talked about Anna Jay. I haven't even talked about how Anna Jay is going after Mercedes Moné TBS Championship. I don't know how I feel. I do enjoy that they have finally built Anna Jay. Like, I feel like she has been on not at the sidelines, but she's been in the peripheral. Like, she's almost there, you know. But she's always gotten the chances at championships, or she has eliminator matches, and you know, and then she went to Japan to hone her skills. So it's not like they haven't been building her. I feel like they have been building her, but all she did was slap Mercedes, and now she has a match. So I don't know how I feel about that, even though she did just have a match against Mariah May. She did beat Mariah May. It's not like she doesn't have the credentials. So I'm just going to say I hope that this is a good match. You know, I don't know if it's going to be as good as Chris Statlander. I mean, that was epic. But you know what? At least we're trying, right? We're trying to give her a feud. We're trying to give something to Anna Jay. We're trying to give something to Mercedes Moné. So I'm not going to complain about it. And they just, Anna Jay just had a match on Dynamite against Penelope Ford, right? And I did not need to see that package. I already knew these two had history because I've been watching AEW for a while. And so when I saw that match was going to happen again, I said, yo, these guys have huge history. They did a whole bunch of street fights together. Anyway, I was kind of glad to see it. A blast from the past, not that long ago, though. But yeah, we had Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. Of course, Penelope Ford lost that match. But at the end of the day, you know, we're showcasing more women in the division. And I'm glad. Listen, I am happy to see it. But anyway, moving it along. I'm going to say about the tag team division that it's kind of cooled down a little bit. I guess since Full Gear, but I'm sure we're gonna get there. The only thing that I have noticed about the tag team division, Private Party's doing great, by the way, is that the Outrunners and FTR are like best friends. Anytime the Outrunners are out there and they win a match, FTI goes out there and they do the handshake, I think it's called. You know what I mean? And so I'm wondering if we're gonna get a feud between these two or if they're gonna be really friends, because how many 80s inspired teams, you know, can you have? Like, is there a place for another one? I don't know, because both of these teams have an 80s style to them, literally. One of them is literally all 80s. I mean, the Route Runners come out in a standard definition, right? And so it's very interesting to see if they're really best friends or if they're going to be enemies. I am interested to see that. Anyway, this is part 1, so I'm going to do another part 2.